Corporate Corpse Saga. Postponed Colonoscopy. Richard stood in front of his new ragtag army of 24 radicalized young men and laid out the new vision like a deranged CEO giving a keynote. Listen up, you beautiful degenerates. We're not fighting for some dusty old god or flag. We're not dying for rich pricks in suits or rich pricks in beards. We're declaring corporate jihad. The room leaned in. We're going after the real parasites, the billionaires hiding in their New Zealand bunkers, the private equity vampires sucking companies dry, the tech CEOs importing H-1B slaves while preaching diversity, the whole goddamn system that treats human beings like quarterly expenses. Abu Khalid raised his hand. So, we're blowing up buildings? Richard grinned. Sometimes, but mostly, we're going to burn it all down, in public. We're launching the Burn It All Down tour. Music, viral videos, manifestos, psychological warfare. We're weaponizing the same internet that radicalized all of you, but this time against the suits. He paused, eyes gleaming with pure chaos. And most importantly, we're building the anti-corporate university. The young guys looked confused, but excited. On the dark web and encrypted channels, we're going to teach people how to fuck the system properly, how to quiet quit like a professional, how to unionize without getting fired, how to manipulate AI against HR, how to survive layoffs, how to make their bosses' lives a living hell. Real skills, real knowledge, no bullshit. We're starting a university while being terrorists. Exactly, Richard said. We're the only ones crazy enough to do it. We'll call it Cubicle Caliphate University. Tuition free, rage included. Richard immediately went full corporate corpse mode. He recorded a new song in the basement called Burn It All Down, a savage punk metal anthem that went viral within 48 hours on every underground platform. The hook was simple. I ain't fighting for their heaven. I ain't dying for their throne. I'm burning every fucking system that treats us like we're drones. The young guys became his content team, camera crew, and distributors. Within a week, Corporate Corpse had millions of new followers who had never touched jihad, just pissed off workers, burned out millennials, and Zoomers who hated their bosses more than anything. They started small, doxing particularly evil private equity firms, leaking internal documents from H-1B abusing companies, running psychological ops that made CEOs look ridiculous on social media. But the real masterstroke was the anti-corporate university. They built it on encrypted platforms and invited people in with one simple message. Tired of being treated like disposable trash? Enroll now. Learn how to fight back. Classes included advanced quiet quitting and malicious compliance, how to weaponize your performance review, layoff survival and revenge economics, psychological warfare against middle management. Enrollment exploded. Back in Washington and in Hefe's mansion, both the general and the cartel boss were losing their minds. The general, he was supposed to dismantle them, not turn them into an anti-corporate cult. Hefe, that cabron stole my app, and now he's using it against me? Meanwhile, Richard sat in his new command center, a slightly less shitty basement, drinking a fresh monster, surrounded by his loyal misfits. He looked at Abu Khalid and smiled. This is just the beginning, kid. We're not terrorists anymore. He raised his can. We're the fucking resistance. Richard had officially gone full warlord. He stood in front of his growing crew, now almost 50 strong, in a converted warehouse outside Antwerp that served as their new headquarters. Whiteboards covered in rage-filled diagrams lined the walls. A giant banner read, Cubicle Caliphate University, established 2029, fuck around and find out division. All right, you beautiful bastards, Richard announced, cracking open a monster. Time to put theory into practice. We're going after our first big fish. He slapped a photo on the whiteboard. Victor Langford, 47-year-old tech billionaire, private jet enthusiast, and the human embodiment of every evil corporate stereotype. The man had laid off 12,000 employees while throwing a $40 million vision summit in Dubai. He was also one of the biggest users of Oracle of Blow through back channels. Target number 1, Richard growled. This smug soul-cycle-looking motherfucker. Also, here is the list of new courses we're adding to our curriculum. New classes added to Anti-Corporate University. Class 1, Advanced Psychological Warfare Against the Rich, taught by Corpse himself. How to make a billionaire cry using only memes, leaked documents, and his own words. Class 2, Financial Terrorism 101. How to short a company into the ground while staying technically legal, mostly. Class 3, Malicious Compliance and Creative Sabotage. Guest lecturer, Abu Khalid, who was rapidly becoming Corpse's right-hand man. Class 4, The Art of the Public Execution. How to destroy someone's reputation so thoroughly their own mother disowns them on LinkedIn. The operation, Project Fuckface. The plan was beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1. Abu Khalid and a small team infiltrated Langford's upcoming Future of Innovation conference in Switzerland as fake staff. Step 2. During his keynote speech, they hijacked the presentation. The entire audience of billionaires, VCs, and tech press watched in horror as Victor's TED-style talk suddenly switched to a 4K video of corporate corpse staring directly into the camera. "Hey, Victor, you chrome-domed, virtue-signaling parasite!" Richard then spent the next 8 minutes absolutely roasting him, live, unfiltered, and globally streamed. He exposed Langford's secret H-1B hiring sprees, the offshore tax schemes, the multiple NDAs with former assistants, and the fact that he had used Oracle of Blow to psychologically manipulate his own employees into accepting terrible severance packages. The crowd was stunned into silence. Then Richard dropped the kill shot. "Oh, and Victor, that $40 million summit in Dubai you threw while laying off thousands? We bought the footage. Enjoy." The screen cut to Victor doing lines of coke off a stripper's ass in a Dubai penthouse while wearing a Make Innovation Great Again hat. The live stream broke the internet. By the time security dragged the hijackers out, Victor Langford's stock had dropped 31% in 47 minutes. His board was already calling for an emergency meeting. His wife tweeted, "Taking time apart to focus on our family," 30 minutes later. Back at headquarters, the crew was losing their minds celebrating. Abu Khalid was laughing so hard he could barely breathe. "Boss, you made a billionaire shit himself on live television." Richard leaned back in his chair, exhausted but grinning like a madman. "That was just the warm-up, kids. We're not just taking them down, we're making it entertaining. Every time one of these pricks falls, we're gonna turn it into a fucking case study for the university." He raised his monster can. "New class starts tomorrow. How I made a billionaire cry in under 10 minutes. Yusuf raised his hand. "What's the next target, boss?" Richard's eyes narrowed with pure, beautiful malice. "Next up, we're going after the private equity firms that own half the companies that laid all of us off." The room erupted in cheers. Corporate Corpse wasn't just fighting back anymore. He was building a movement. 2 days after Victor Langford's very public meltdown, Richard's encrypted phone rang. First call, Jefe. Órale, Corpse. Jefe laughed loudly, sounding genuinely amused. "I just watched the video of that pendejo crying on stage. Madre de Dios, the way his face turned red when you showed the Dubai Coke video, I almost pissed myself." Jefe took a drag of something and kept chuckling. "You know what? I'm not even mad anymore. Keep roasting those rich cabrones. They deserve it. Every time you make one of those soft-handed billionaire shitty silk pants, I laugh so hard my sicarios get nervous. Just don't come after my business and we're good, eh? Richard smirked. No promises, Jefe. But for now, the real parasites are higher up the food chain. Jefe laughed again. You're fucking crazy, gringo. I like it. Stay alive, cabron. 10 minutes later, the general called. Corpse? The general said, voice tight with stress. What the hell are you doing? You were supposed to dismantle the network, not turn it into some anti-capitalist meme cult. Your little cubicle caliphate is trending worldwide. You're destabilizing alliances. This could hurt the country. Richard leaned back in his chair and let out a long, bitter laugh. Hurt the country? He stood up, pacing like a caged animal. Let me remind you of something, General. I'm a fucking American, born and raised. I paid taxes for decades while watching my own people get sold out. I ended World War III with nothing but pure rage and a microphone. And now you're worried about me hurting the country? He raised his voice, full corporate corpse mode activated. I took 24 would-be jihadists, kids who were ready to blow themselves up for a cause, and turned them into a rich fuck's roasting commune. We're not building bombs anymore. We're building memes. We're exposing the real parasites who've been hollowing out America for 30 years, and you're mad because some billionaire's stock took a dip? The general tried to interrupt, but Richard wasn't done. Communism doesn't work, he said coldly. We all know that. But the threat of communism, that shit works like fucking magic. Until these degenerate billionaire fuckfaces feel the gentle rub of the butt of a pitchfork against their soft, pink, entitled assholes, nothing is going to change. They'll keep shipping jobs overseas, importing cheap labor, and treating American workers like disposable garbage. Oh, and don't get me started on our affordable health care. I had to postpone my colonoscopy because I worried that my scumbag private insurance that I pay out of my pocket will not cover a tube up my ass, and I will get stuck with tens of thousands of dollars in medical bills. He paused, breathing heavily. So yeah, General, I'm going rogue. And if you try to stop me, just remember, I've got nothing to lose, but they do. There was a long silence on the line. You're playing with fire, Corpse, the general finally said. Richard smiled that dangerous half-smile. Good. I've been cold for years. Time to warm things up. He hung up. Abu Khalid, who had been quietly listening, looked at him with wide eyes. Boss, you really just told the general to fuck off? Richard cracked open a fresh Monster and took a long sip. Kid, I've survived worse than that in performance reviews. Now, let's plan our next target. The revolution was no longer underground. It had a new leader, and Corporate Corpse was just getting started.